Hi, welcome guys. This is Real Talk with EMS. I'm Ebony.
Hello, everybody. I'm Marcella.
What's up, beautiful people? It is your girl, Sonia Howard.
And today we have the lovely, stunning Miss Cookie Ivory. Mom, do you want to do the honors?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Listen, we have Miss Cookie Judith Ivory. I have a ton of respect for this young lady. She is retired military and she is a mentor. She is a coach. She leads a team and she does an extraordinary job in everything she do. She is humble. And she is most beautiful in spirit as she is in looks. This young lady is amazing. I want to introduce you, Miss Judith Ivory. I have a question for you, and I want to just say welcome to our podcast.
Thank you. It is an absolute honor to be online with you ladies. Thank you so much for having me as your guest tonight. I am honored and humbled to be among such beautiful and great women. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, we love you. You have such an amazing story. I mean, from your life, I just wanted to know, like, what gave you the inspiration from where you came from to where you are now? Can you just talk a little bit about your journey, please?
Absolutely. Well, I guess the only way to answer that is to give you my journey to be able to answer that question. That's probably the best way to answer that question. Because, and the reason I want to do that, because a lot of people think that when you're born with the spoon in your mouth, you're just gonna be great. You ain't got to worry about nothing because everything is gonna be handed to you. Well, that was definitely not the case with me or my husband. Even more so for me. Even more so for me. We were very, very poor, to say the least. Very poor. I don't remember ever having a lot. My mom, she was kicked out of my grandfather's house because she got pregnant with my oldest brother, and he kicked her out pregnant. So she was out there on the streets on her own, and she went through a lot. My dad was not her husband at the time. They didn't get married. That's the reason my grandfather was so upset, because he was a pastor, and she was out there on her own. She had to do her own thing. She had to live her life the best that she could. And so my dad finally got married, but it didn't make things a whole lot better for her. I can say at least we were indoors then. Because for a while, my mom said that we slept in a little old beat up car that sat outside of a house of a friend of hers that she knew. The car didn't work. And she said I was a little baby. And that's when we slept for a little while. But I do remember some shotgun houses. If you don't know what a shotgun house is, I'm telling you, Google it. A shotgun house is one of those houses where you see from the beginning to the ending. In the house, you see straight through it. And we lived in one of those. And believe me, we thought we were doing great to live in that shotgun house. I remember this memory will never ever leave me. I remember one time I was a little bitty girl, and my mom had got some groceries from somewhere. I don't know where she got them from. I don't know what she did to get it, but she had got some. We ate scraps a lot. So when she came in with something in a can, we were like, "Oh, we finna live up now," And I grabbed a can of pork and beans, and I wouldn't let anybody else have it. And I dropped it on my big toe. To this day, I still got that crack on my toe. This toenail has never grown back correctly since then. But I was so happy to get them doggone pork and beans, I did not care. But we lived in that shotgun house for a long time. And then after years of living there, we finally got in the projects. That was a move up for us. We finally got in the projects in Panama City, Florida, because that's where I was born and raised. And we got into the projects, and my mom actually was able to give me my own room at that time. But my brothers, which I had 3 of them, they had to sleep in one room together. So it was a 3-bedroom apartment. My mom had one room. My 3 brothers had to share one room, and she gave me my own room because I was a girl and I was growing and things started happening. So she let me stay in a room by myself. And one time I remember that we were hungry, and my mom did what she do. And I'm gonna tell you, to this day I try to think what was it that she did, and a lot of things come to mind. Because if I gotta feed my kids, I'm gonna do what I gotta do.
Right,
know.
right.
She came home one day and she had some salmon, which at that time was cheap stuff. Now you can't hardly get some salmon; it's so expensive. She
Yeah.
came home with some
Aw.
salmon, and she made us some salmon and a pot of rice. And we didn't have any dishes. So my dad tore pieces of paper. You used to go to the grocery store and get those brown paper bags. Those things are thick. He
Yes.
tore that paper, and he put a piece in front of each one of us. And that's what we ate our salmon and rice on, with our hands.
Mm.
And one day I was outside playing with some of the neighborhood friends outside, and there was a big dumpster down from where we lived. And I saw a plate set. They weren't broken up. And I was so excited. I grabbed it and I ran to the house and I showed it to my mom. I said, "Mom, it's dishes." And we kept those dishes for a long time, because my mom went back up there with me, and we, saw whatever else we could get, the fork, spoons, knives, some cups. Someone knew that someone else needed that, and they just placed it there. They did it purposely so that it wouldn't break. So, I'm saying all that to say that I was definitely not born with a silver spoon in my mouth.
Right.
And my mother didn't know how to teach me to do better, because she wasn't taught to do any better. She did what she did. I remember one time, it was about Easter time, and I'm trying not to get emotional here, but it was Easter time, and we was always picked at by the other neighborhood kids because we had nothing. Kids literally, before my mother would come home from work, would take us in our own apartment and line us up and kick us just because they could. And it was tough. It was tough living like that, and people that's almost as poor as you disrespecting you and treating you that way. It was terrible. So I'm saying that to let you know where my psyche was, where my head was. Imagine what that did to me for the rest of my life, for a lot of my life. I'm not gonna say the rest, because I'm still living and I've done some changes.
Right.
But that done something to my psyche. I don't. It took me forever to live through that. I don't think I'd ever forget it. But it took me a long time to accept that that's just part of life. Life was just like it. It was what it was.
Mm-hmm.
My brother found a BB gun, and I don't know if he found or stole it. Now, I'm just to be honest, we don't know if he found or stole it, but he got a BB gun, and he used to shoot the robin bird out the tree, and he would pluck it, clean it, and cook it. And that was my oldest brother, and that's how he fed us.
Mm.
He would go out and cut yards, pick up paper in people's yards, whatever he had to do. And he would bring every nickel that he had back to his 3 younger siblings. And that's the only time we had anything that looked like money in our pockets. But about the Easter thing, I skipped past that. My mother went and came back with some Easter outfits for all of us. And that was the first time she ever admitted that she stole it. She said, I couldn't let you guys go another day without having something nice. And it's Easter, and I had to do it. I did what I had to do. So I learned to love raw oysters, pig feet, chitlins, stuff like that, because we were poor. That's all we had to eat. And if you didn't eat what was on your plate, you didn't eat.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I ate. So with my psyche being terrible the way that it was, I made a lot of bad decisions going through. But I must say one thing: God was always with me, because he protected me. He kept me alive. He kept me from really going through some dangers that I could have gone through. Now,
Mhm.
mind you, I went through some things. I went through some things, but that's another subject. But the thing that got me was when my mother met this guy after my father got killed tragically. He was shot in the chest defending my mother's brother, my uncle. And he was trying to stop the guy from killing my mother's brother, and he jumped in front of it and they killed my father.
Mm.
And because my father was a good guy. So he was shot to death. So I lost him. But when I lost my father, my mother said, "Hey, we gotta move. I can't do this alone. So I gotta move somewhere near family." So she moved us to Alabama. And that's when she met Fort Rucker, Alabama was right around the corner from where we were living. And she met this soldier. And he had some soldiers that he used to bring to the house. And one of them was a female. And they used to call him Wax. And I just fell in love with her. I said, I'm gonna be a soldier. I'm gonna be a soldier. I'm gonna be a soldier. That was the turning point for me. I didn't know it at the time, but that was a turning point for me, because when I did become an adult, leaving all the heartaches in between there, because it was a hard time for me to get in the military. I still made a lot of dumb, stupid mistakes, but I got in the military, and that was the beginning of the thing that totally turned my life around.
Praise God. Yeah.
That was the beginning of and yes, praise God, because
Mhm.
if it had not been for me just loving this woman,
Mm.
admiring her, she was so strong and she was pretty and she was tall and slim. And I said, oh, I'm going to be just like her.
Mhm.
If it had not been for me interacting with her, I probably would never have came in the army. I wouldn't have had that love and that passion for it. It took me a long time. I didn't go into the military until I was 29 years old. I was a few months from turning 30
Mm.
when I came into the military, but I did get in. And I did 20 years in. I did 21 years actually. And during that time in the military, I met this handsome little chocolate, little short, little pretty teeth, little big square head thing. He just stole my heart. I fell in love with him on the first date. The first date, I was googly eyed. So anything that he told me at that point, it just made an impression on me, and I wanted to make him happy, and I wanted to please him. So anything he said that he wanted me to do, I did, because I just felt this thing with him, and I just thank God he wasn't no nut, because he could have really taken advantage of me. He was a really, really good guy, and he really took care of me, and he started me on this financial journey. And he's always been aware of money and the importance of it, and we knew that we needed it, but we didn't know what to do with it when we got it.
Mm.
Me and my husband
Yes.
opened between the two of us, we probably had 20 different bank accounts, because we had to make sure that we never got over $9,999 in one account. So we'd open another one.
Mhm.
And then we had an account that we used together that we paid the bills out of. Then we had an account that was just my account, what I used for whatever I wanted. He had an account that was just his account that he used for whatever he wanted. And he had an account where he used to pay credit cards, because he noticed his credit score would go up as he used those credit cards. We always had to have the money readily available. Then he had an account that he took the investments out of, because he knew that we needed to invest in something to make some money. So he had $500 of our money, and we struggling coming out of our house investing, but it paid off in the end. All of that paid off in the end. And we started getting into companies that taught financial literacy, and it just opened our eyes up so much. And my husband being hungry for this information, and he and I both coming from such a horrible background, we were determined to make this thing work. So we dove in with both feet running. And
Wow.
that's how we ended up where we are now, just by doing what we were told to do when we was told to do it. We changed our circle. The people around us, they were poor mouthing, they was discouraging, they was negative, they didn't believe nothing, everything was a scam. We had to get involved with people that was going to encourage us and push us.
Mhm.
And one of the main things that I liked about my husband also, not only his financial concern, was the fact that he believed in God.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yes.
next Sunday, we'll be married 20 years. And he has
Awesome.
kept me in church 20 years.
Beautiful.
Okay. He has kept me in church 20 years. He makes sure that we keep God in our life no matter what. We give our tithes, and every time we give our tithes, everything comes back to us. We don't hesitate in giving our tithes. And I'm gonna say this without, and I'm gonna use some bad numbers because I think some people need to hear this. If we made $10,000, we gave our church $1,000.
Mhm.
Period.
Mm,
We gave it happily
right.
because that $1,000 would turn into $5,000.
Absolutely.
It happens every single time,
Yes.
and we know that. So everything that we make, we pay our tithes off of it.
Mhm.
Everything that we make. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that we're successful too, because we're not stingy with God, so he's not stingy with us. And he leading us in the right directions with the right people. And I met people like you ladies, and I mean, I'm so fortunate to be in the same room with you ladies. I mean, I wouldn't have never met you guys had we not went in this direction. And I just thank God for it, and I thank you ladies for it.
Yes.
Oh, that is absolutely amazing. I mean, that not a lot of people can say that they have come from where you come from and are where you are right now. So, I mean, what kind of an impact has that made on you and your family?
Oh my God. I tell you, my children, I had 4 children before I met my husband, and he had 1. And my children, they always loved me, always been in love with me. I am the apple of their eye. I know they'll do anything for me. But they saw me make a lot of stupid mistakes. So it took a minute for them to see that I'm not doing that anymore, baby. I'm better with this money thing now. So I need you to trust me. So we got them into what we're doing, and it's a slow process because they don't have the resources that we had to kind of dive in kind of a little bit more quickly, because we made some decisions 10, 15, 20 years before they got into it that helped us be able to pull that $40,000 out and buy the land. They are not there yet, but they are getting there. They are trusting me. I have 2 accounts for 2 of my children that I keep their money in. They trust me with their money, and they have thousands of dollars in those accounts. But we're trying to get them up to a point where they're able to buy their land, and they're able to get them some rental property somewhere and get in their own house. But you know, I this journey has really showed them that it's for real. This is for real. Mommy, and they call my husband Poppy. Mommy and Poppy is for real. They doing this thing for real, and I'm gonna follow their lead. And they do. They're following our lead. It's just taking a little bit longer because the resources are not there right now, but they're getting there. They're getting
That
there.
is beautiful. I have one last question for you. What advice would you give to someone else that is in probably a situation where they're struggling and they can't seem to find a way out? What advice do you have for them?
Well, I would say first and foremost, you got to take it to God. You got to. And you got to pray constantly. And the reason you got to pray constantly because you got to learn the voice of God, because the devil talk to you too. And the devil answer your prayers too. He'll answer some prayers. It may not be the way you want it, but he'll answer some prayers for you. So you got to learn the voice of God. So you got to pray a lot and get to know God intimately so that when he say something to you, it was him. And I'm not saying an audible sound. So don't nobody think I'm crazy. I don't have an audible sound that came from God, but God will do something or put something in my face that let me know, ooh, he just revealed that to me in a dream, and here it is. Or he just revealed that to me with something me and my husband was talking about, and there it is. So you got to be able to recognize that in order to get yourself out of that situation. And the other thing I would tell them is once you get that good relationship with God and you recognize his voice, when he do speak, you got to move.
That's right.
You got to move. You can't sit on it, because you won't have no movement, there's not gonna be any action. You gotta
Absolutely.
move. You gotta trust them, even if you mess up.
Yeah.
Because I can't tell you how many times I've messed up. I
Mhm.
can't tell you how many times we are still messing up. You know, we made some investments that we lost a lot of money in, but it's okay because God gave it to us. It went out there, and we know that God not gonna leave us stranded. It's okay.
Mhm.
We learned something from it. So even a loss is not a loss because you learn something from everything that you do. And we learn something from everything that we do. So every time that you do something, first of all, you gotta move and do it.
Mhm.
Even if it's wrong, you try it.
Mhm.
You try it.
That's
And you
right.
stay close to God and you learn something from it. So the next time you get ready to make that move, you make that move better. You got to listen to your instincts. Sometimes your instincts will help drive you where you need to be. Because that instinct is God talking to you. And us women, we got a hellacious instinct. We got a good one. You know, so you got to sometimes listen to your instinct. That man ain't something, I don't know, something ain't quite right. You got to listen to that instinct and move on because it's going to hurt you right now. But what's going to hurt you even worse if you do nothing
Mm.
and keep going on that same path. You know, a mentor told me one time that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and getting the same results, but expecting something different. Don't be insane. Do something different.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thank y'all. See why I told you this young lady is amazing. Oh my God. This was an amazing testimony from her. Oh my God.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to say that internal fortitude, because most people, and let me apologize for my screen. I apologize, y'all. I'm sitting in my car and people looking at me, so I'm like trying to put a screen up. But anyway, that internal fortitude, and y'all, I call her Lady J because she's just Lady J to me, so special. But that internal fortitude that you spoke about, that you really spoke about, from the beginnings until the end, like it took internal fortitude for you because most people in your situation would have gone total opposite,
Mhm.
because I'm from the projects too. Trust me, I know all about everything that you were talking about. So you had to have or had that internal fortitude that say, you know what, I may have started at this point, but this is not my future. I want more. I desire more. I don't know how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. So I just want to say that I admire that about you. That's what makes you so special. That's what makes you like your inside is what you see on the outside. And you don't get that from most people, right? So I just love you. I know that my girls
Love you
love
too.
you. And I just want to say thank you because it's a powerful testimony that just because your beginning didn't start as, everybody else's, it doesn't mean that your ending has to be that way. And you are living proof. So again, I just want to tell you thank you for sharing your testimony with us. And it's such an honor to be in your presence.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
and I want to thank you also. Everybody that's watching this they should like jump on board, like Sonia and Mommy said, like just because you start out at a certain way doesn't mean you have to continue in that role or even end up worse. It's better opportunities out there for you. Like you just have to want it for yourself. Don't make excuses. This is what happened to me in the past, so I have to still follow. Oh, absolutely not. Is
Right.
much more things out there better for you. So yes,
Right.
I do appreciate your story. It was amazing.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you.
And
Yes.
what this tells us is that you have to stay open-minded because of the possibilities, because of the business ventures that, came in your life. You were open-minded enough to say, you know what, I'm going to try this. Whether or
Absolutely.
not it's going to work or not, let's just see. So I would admonish everyone out there to take notes. do what Lady J has done. Be open-minded when an opportunity comes your way. Don't shun it. Don't scam it. Don't do all of this. Take it, because you never know where that road is going to lead you. So again, thank you, Lady J.
You are so welcome. Thank you all for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank
Oh,
you.
Thank you so much.
And that is our time, guys. So same time next week, next Sunday. So again, this is Real Talk with EMS. I'm Ebony.
I'm Marcella.
And I'm Sonia. And y'all don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Share this video with everyone you know.
And
Okay,
comment.
beautiful people, we love you.
See y'all again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.